Welcome back, mercenaries. I hope you are well. Times remain challenging in our day, and the opening of Night City to all forms of rascal, of rogue, and happy-go-lucky type will certainly add additional sorrow and intrigue. But as you continue to prepare for your upcoming journey within Night City, this report should help educate you on the most powerful corporation of our age, Trauma Team International. These corporate masterminds are the militarized version of the early 2000s paramedics, often found unarmed and supported by other civil services, such as police and fire departments. In the early 2020s, this would change, as many governments continuing to pull themselves out of the economic collapse would privatize various civil provisions, such as the paramedical arm of the civil government. While not the only such corporation, Trauma Team International is without a doubt one of the most expansive and capable rapid response medical service corporations. During the early 2020s, the world would shift a majority of its power structure from local and federal governments to large-scale mega corporations, as showcased in a previous report on the background of the world today. Corporations would rise due to a tectonic shift in economic and political power. Governments, such as the United States, would be overwhelmed by internal politics, specifically the Gang of Four or the DEA, CIA, FBI, and NSA. The U.S. would not be the only state government to face internal bickering and mismanagement. In total, due to the incompetence or perhaps inability of elected politicians to manage state agencies, the rise of corporations would almost be a necessity to fill the vacuum of public trust. Unfortunately, for the masses of the world, they would trade their power to elected officials to shadowy powers, relatively untouched and held almost unaccountable for their actions. However, there was a net positive, at least initially, of the privatization of civil services, or the shift to corporate power in that of Trauma Team International. A mix of military and rapid response medical service, forming a perfect mesh of client service and protection, essentially needed in the days of gang warfare, mercenary assassinations, or overt corporate warfare. In such cases, hiring a medical service that could arrive to a scene of destruction to not only save but protect their client from any aggressor is a uniquely enticing business model. Now, in 2077, Trauma Team International is a leading producer of medical equipment, an investor in hospital management technology, and IP holders in their now infamous insurance policy. Make no mistake, mercenaries, if you find yourself at odds with a trauma team during any of your contracts, be prepared to face an incredibly well-armed and disciplined group of paramedics with only one objective: their client and their pay. You are nothing more than another threat. The foundational pillar of Trauma Team International's business is established around their insurance plan, a perverted shift of health insurance from the early 1990s to an almost dystopian version of aggressive client servicing. Realistically, however, their insurance plans range from an affordable service to a ludicrous intervention, starting with the full-body life coverage. Now, it's roughly $500 a month with a reasonable yearly plan featuring a 10% discount. This plan is designed to provide immediate transportation to and from the trauma area to a local hospital. The caveat, or the catch in this case, the client is responsible for an hourly rate, cost of travel to and from a trauma team base to location, to the hospital, and then back to base, ammunition expended, and any damage done to a trauma team weaponry or equipment, and worse, personnel damage. Essentially, this plan is designed for your standard mid to upper level gang member or some type of middle management corporate enforcer, with the financial advantage well within Trauma Team's corner. Now, you'd likely pay 10 times the rate of your yearly investment in the event you needed to use this service to survive. The next business plan is designed for your higher level corporate members, broken into two separate packages. You have a corporate plan for your director types and an executive corporate plan for vice presidents, senior vice presidents, C-level, and so on. The first package can run a customer roughly $16,000 a month, and the executive plan can reach upwards to $120,000 a year. The uniqueness in these plans is the promise for the response time in 7 minutes or less, and the lessened impact of what the customer is responsible for. In extreme cases, these plans are rarely seen implemented, as most corporate executives rarely travel without some form of paramilitary guard. But in the case of a near-fatal event, you can be certain the trauma team will arrive on scene in haste, making any corporate hit even more difficult. Now, the final plan, at least from the records we have, is the high priority package. It's truly exorbitant in price, running $34,000 a month with no yearly package plan. To equate this to more understandable terms, 1 year would run you around €400,000, and a 5-year plan just north of $2 million. Now, this is a bit of conjecture, but it's quite likely that this plan is designed around a 1-month purchase, say in the event of an outbreak of a corporate war or potential political hit, only to be used in short periods of time for the mega rich. In this plan, service will arrive in under 5 minutes, in which a trauma team boasts is the fastest in the business of armed medical servicing. Finally, there are rumors of a platinum plan, but at this time there isn't enough data to collate a proper assessment of what this provides or where it lives against the other policies. As you can see, these plans offer a considerable net benefit to a corporate executive, high-profile celebrities, or even top-level politicians, offering an added security blanket against any potential threats. We've touched on the key elements of Trauma Team International, their murky formation from the ashes of the old world, and their new business model. But perhaps most helpful to you will be how they formulate their team dynamics. In the unfortunate case, you meet them in the field. God, or whatever deity you choose to worship, help you in that case, as I fear this report won't nearly be enough to guide you in the direction beyond a payday. In each team, you will find a rapid response air-to-ground craft, a highly capable and well-armored Trauma Team International Medical AV-4A. It has a significant VTOL enhancement, offering mobility in the diverse city infrastructure or destitute wastelands of its surrounding. Each vehicle is commandeered by one primary pilot, a co-pilot, a side gunner, 2 security specialists who are typically military trained and well armed, a lead EMT, and an assistant EMT. Each member of the ground team, the 4 members, your EMTs and the security specialists, are armed in varying degrees. The specialists are typically tasked with area security and protection, while the EMTs are tasked with providing immediate care to any trauma team client. Now, in the event of an active hot zone drop, all members of the ground trauma team are expected to engage any potential hostile threat. And they are often quite liberal with who they do consider to be a threat, brandishing firearms and vocal threats to anyone who may get too close to their client. Additionally, the ground team is further supported by the AV-4A side gunner, who is responsible for higher altitude coverage and overwatch, designed to provide an additional force amplification for the ground team. Now, if you happen to encounter the ground team, the level of threat engagement should be your security specialist, the air vehicle, and then your 2 EMT specialists. But you should remain mindful that all of these members will immediately defend themselves in the event of hostile provocations, and there are reports of trauma team members shooting first and looking for an explanation later. If you don't have a specific contract that requires body or cybernetic retrieval from your employer, it's highly recommended you steer clear of any trauma team task force. Ideally, at this point, you have a better understanding of Trauma Team International, should you face them in any of your upcoming contract objectives. Now, certainly, I wish you luck in these encounters, as you will undoubtedly need every advantage to remove these well-armed paramedics, should your face-to-face with them escalate. As we continue to explore the world of the future, so welcoming in its technology and its riches, I hope these reports better prepare you for the grim reality you face once you enter Night City and face its dangerous and often overly violent denizens. In the meantime, stay safe, mercenaries. I hope you do not encounter any member of the trauma team unless you are either forced to do so or have truly fallen to insanity. Hey everyone, I hope you're all well. The move went well-ish. I don't know if some of you caught the comments on the Discord, but FedEx damaged quite a bit of my PC pretty extensively. So I'm trying to do what I can in putting together videos and obviously just try to keep my head together. With that said, though, you should be expecting a lore video this Sunday. Hopefully the audio levels in this one came out well. I'm using a new microphone. The other one I was using is still on its way here from California. Other than that, I hope you are all doing really, really well. I'm very much excited for this title. Just so you guys know, it did get pushed back a little bit, I think until November now, or September. My months are always terrible. With that, Sunday will be another Destiny lore video, and then we'll continue with CyberPunk Wednesdays. You guys are great, and I will see you all soon. Later.